Welcome to Inspiring Minds, where captivating narratives fuel our aspirations for a better world. Join Anabel as she introduces extraordinary individuals whose stories motivate us to act for a world worth living in.
So we will continue with somebody I've already introduced with a few words from Copenhagen's route to cosmetic heights. This is Bettina Tammaro. Welcome here in the show, Bettina.
Hello, Anabel. Thank you so much. I'm excited that you invited me, and I'm looking so much forward. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I would like to give a short intro about you, and I wanted to start with a quote from you: "Born on Earth, yet never bound by it. I've slept under African skies, danced by with dolphins, and stared cancer in the face twice. I've learned that life isn't about avoiding the storms; it's about riding them with joy, courage, and faith over fear. From the soil beneath my feet to the stars above my head. I'm Bettina, a wild child turned cosmic traveler, and this is my journey home." So welcome here.
Thank you, and a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
In this case, normally I'm writing them, but in this case, I took yours, and I mean, it was so wonderful that I thought that I have to use this. And to be honest, I mean, you sent me beforehand so great pictures, and it turned into really storytelling. I thought, how did she feel when she was so above the clouds, falling down? Well, how did she feel when she was with these indigenous people, among others? How did she feel when there was this note of cancer first time? And I would like to go back to the roots. What was Copenhagen like through the eyes of you as a child? What did you get out of this Copenhagen?
I was living in an apartment complex where there was parks and little areas to kind of play and hide, and I was one of the youngest ones in a group of people living there, so I was a bit naive, and I just wanted to play. And I'm just older now, but it's the same spirit I have. But back then, I just wanted to play, and I followed the older people around me. Whatever they did, I did, and they weren't always as nice as they could have been. So sometimes I was not bullied, but I was so easy to say, come over here, Bettina, we'll do this, and I was so excited. So in Copenhagen, my childhood was inspiring and also a bit lonely sometimes. I found myself, I woke up very early, I remember, in the morning. And back then, you just opened the door and went outside. And I had this boundary I couldn't walk past, I remember. And my older sister, her job was to stop me from crossing that line out to the streets, which makes sense. But I didn't kind of understand that. So I remember venturing out past the boundary and this is going to sound a bit crazy, and maybe it is, and I became like an adventurer back then. And I remember seeing this light pole. This is really a stop sign pole. It's really ridiculous, but that became, I'm just going to have fun with you. Everyone is sleeping. I'm here by myself. And I was dancing around this stop sign, actually giving it candy and pretending that it was me, it in the world. And excuse me, I've always had this, I guess, need for wanting adventure around me, and not maybe expecting people to give it to me.
Interesting. Because on the one hand, what you are describing with the sign, isn't it that you there designed your own story and your own relationship and also your own rules? I mean, you designed or you created what you think this sign needs from you. You decided that this sign is a part of your world and of the nature. It belongs to you, and and you decided that the sign reacts or acts in a way that you assume that it does. I mean, I understand that this is a completely different behavior than awaiting for the adventures prepared for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I'm not always sharing it, but sometimes when I'm really bold, I'm just gonna share it because it is a part of why I am the way I am. And some people may be looking a bit like you're a bit unboxed there, young lady. And yes, I am. And when I was younger, I looked at it maybe as being a bit different, a bit odd, the odd one out, which I was, but it had a more minus feeling to it, negative
Mhm.
spirit around it. Where now becoming older, it is much more positive, and I'm actually proud of having that sign ability with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that you're describing it, Bettina. But of course, we as a society give patterns, and we evaluate always. We very rarely say let it be like it is, or just yeah, just take her as she is. We often give it a pattern. Is she similar than us? Is she different than us? If she's different than us, is it something we want to reach? Or is it something which is odd and we want to get into distance too, right? And kids are, I mean, we think that, oh, we often think kids can't be bad, no? And kids aren't bad, but kids often want to try things out. And of course, they get also in their epigenetics information from their parents and society, which helps in acting in this society. And it's not always good, right? So, I got some ideas on how you could live there as a kid. Did you have a family which supported you, or siblings, or good friends around you which were there for you when you had the situations where you felt that you were different, or that you are more wild, or that you're odd in a minus way?
Well, I believe that the time then, I'm born in '66, so I'm an older lady. Uh, and I believe my view of what that time was like in my country was, in my area where I lived, was that back then it was like there was not the same control and monitoring and Google find your child at a party, etc. It was more like you're out there and then you come back when it's dinner time ish. So I spend a lot of time outside, not alone, but not lonely, but alone.
Hmm.
I also played with the children around there, and it was, but always found there was something around the communication between people that I thought was, it wasn't really a match somehow. My mother was doing the best she can. She's from Finland, so
Oh.
she was taken up by the root by my father, who's a businessman who was Motorola University, all kinds of executive titles, labels, and he met my mom and basically took her up like by her roots in Finland. So she wasn't really living a happy life. So
Hmm.
I also learned that's also an ability from a mom. My mother was had a lot of depression, and she was not able to really be in the moment. She was taking medications, and my father was working a lot. And by saying all that, I'm getting to the point, which is that also meant that I needed to figure out a way. And I became really, really good at what is it called? Calibrating the mood in the room,
Hmm.
making sure she was okay, making sure everyone around me was okay. And that became my, let's say, my work life for many years after, making sure that what's outside of me is doing really well. And that has some pluses and some minuses. So I was not really supported in the sense that we would understand today.
Hmm.
Yet I'm grateful for what it has taught me.
I can imagine. And of course, as a kid, you want to have a world you can trust. I mean, later on, of course, too. And trying to make sure that everything around you fits. It's, of course, also kind of, an overprotection for you to make sure your world is working in the way which is still something where you can trust on and you can walk above. Do you think that this is also something which is connected to the cancer and the fear, maybe the being in a special form you don't like, but you have to act in, you have to work, even if you don't like it, and also see maybe with your mother a person where you saw that she is not happy and you can't change her status, you can't get her out. You can only make sure that the surrounding maybe is better to her and to you.
I love that question, Anabel, and it's kind of interesting that you ask it because I've reflected on that a bit, but not so much. But what I agree with you, and I can see your point, is that I think I developed very early how to act in life, and I call it, I went from a machine to being a human. So my machine person uh, was basically bulldozing life full head on. I was very strong. I am strong, but in a different way. Now it's more balanced. But I believe that, yes, to answer your question, yes, I think my cancer, which I'm not happy about using that word, but we need to use it to communicate. I like imbalance better. Um,
Mhm.
I think that it came to visit me to wake me up and have me understand that there's more to life than to act a role of being strong and helping everyone around, and to but more so to connect with the inner side of me and having a balance. I'm not sure if I answered your question. Did I?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
You even shared some important content with us, as it's all about our perception in that moment. And maybe it could look like a puzzle where we had already the pieces, but we didn't see how it all belongs together. And suddenly we see it, and then it gets a sense. And then, and it sounded for me a kind of maybe even thankful for was given the sign, as there are many other people don't get the sign, sudden death, and you are given the sign. So you are also talk about a kind of calling, and if we look into your life, um, you had a life where everything seems to be in order, right? And from outside, it looked like there's a blonde, beautiful lady, and she has kids. And but what happened in your inner life, in your inner body, heart, and mind? Um, you talk also about cosmic communication. Can you explain this to us? Because I think it has a plays also quite a big role in your life.
Yes, and thank you for asking that. And I'll catch your metaphor about the puzzle, because as you're saying it, I wanted to say when I look back, and I want to respect the life that I've had. So I'm not condemning what was. I'm just looking back at this as my human not understanding life better at that time. And there's a reason for that, bringing to the cosmos in a minute. But the best metaphor to use yours is that I was making someone else's puzzle. I
Yeah.
didn't know it wasn't mine until my cancer came, and I had to ask some more questions. And I started this spiritual realm to find. I was a very, very active, busy in my mind person, all very physical, active, all over the place, but not so much in my inner life. And since I had this diagnosis and had to figure out life, I had to ask some difficult questions, and that started my journey into the spiritual realm with the healing and clairvoyance and all those fine labels that we put on these courses that we go to. But in essence, it was basically, as I see it, more of a looking in and understanding. Go into some courses to figure out how do you look in, and but I also want to say you don't always have to join the courses and get the certificates to end up at the same state. But sometimes it helps because the language, just like teaching, you know, everyone can teach, but sometimes it's good to get a little tools, and for that reason those courses can be good. But what happened for me after many years of these courses and being spiritual, as we say, I had an awakening in a special soul course where I understood this is my belief, and I'm going to give my disclaimer. This is my own experience. But for me, I had some pretty profound experiences with well, the religion people call it God. There's the quantum physics, some people call it that, I'm sorry. And then there's the universe. And personally, I call it the all. It's the same shop we go to. This is my belief, my classes, but we call it different things. If you're a Christian, you call it the God, and people get to be fighting about it. Really, already, it's the same store. It's the same water we're swimming in. We jump in from different places. And so for me, it became a really profound calmness inside of me. And for me, I understand life now as a soul and as a human. And if you would like me to explain what I mean about that now, I can do that.
Yes. In 1 minute, 1 minute, we have time for that. Yes.
Okay. What I wanted to say about that is, it's basically like if your perception of what is this, Bettina? I'm critical about this. What are you talking about? It's kind of like we have already, from before we were born, made our little blueprint, made our puzzle, and we come down to Earth School and we learn different things, but we don't go in the same classes. So there's a reason why are you a really good pianist at 3 years age and someone else has we all have different tasks in life. So we should never compare ourselves to each other, because we chose, according to my theory, different classes. And depending on how we graduate, it depends on the decisions we make in life. That was a short version.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bettina. I wish we have time also for the long version. And I'm very thankful for the conversation we had. Your pictures you sent me beforehand now are put together to a puzzle, which gives some great storytelling moments for me. And I hope we stay connected. Let's talk further. And today that wraps up our episode of We Empower, the weekly radio show dedicated to celebrating the strength, resilience, and limitless potential of everyone around the globe. Join us again next week as we continue on this empowering journey, sharing real stories of triumph, upliftment, and empowerment. Your presence and engagement mean the world to us, and we appreciate you taking the time to tune in. Celebrate.
Thank you.
Welcome to Inspiring Minds, where captivating narratives fuel our aspirations for a better world. Join Anabel as she introduces extraordinary individuals whose stories motivate us to act for a world worth living in.